Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Prabhakacharya Shrimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Prabhakacharya Shrimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai. Shri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Prishavana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary, Srila Prabhupada. Today's verses are 18 and 19 of chapter 12, entitled Devotional Service. So it's two verses, so I'll just read the Sanskrit and you repeat, and then we'll go to the word for word. Samashatru cha mitre cha Tata mana pamanayo Shitoshna sukadukeshu Samasanga vivajitaha Tulya ninda stutir moni Santushto yena kenachit Aniketaha stira matir Bhaktimam me priyo naraha. So, word for word. Samaha, equal. Shatro, to an enemy. Cha, also. Mitre, to a friend. Cha, also. Tata, so. Mana, in honor. Apamanayaho, and dishonor. Shita, in cold. Ushna, heat. Sukha, happiness. Dukeshu, and distress. Samaha, equipoised. Sangavajitaha, free from all association, tulya, equal, ninda, in defamation, stuti, and repute, moni, silent, santushtaha, satisfied, yena kenachit, with anything, aniketaha, having no residence, stira, fixed, matihi, determination, bhaktimam, engaged in devotion, me, to me, priyaha, dear, naraha, a man. So, translation, Srila Prabhupada. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. Please repeat. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a person is very dear to me. So, purport Srila Prabhupada. A devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only of essentials, and the most essential speech for the devotee is to speak for the sake of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not, but he is satisfied. Nor does he care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualification of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that a devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Hara abhashya kuto mahadguna. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him to develop them. So, Makum Karochi Vachalam Pangam Laite Grim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Sri Guru Ninatarinam Sama Shatro Chamitrecha Tata Mana Pamana Yaho Shitoshna Sukadukeshu Samasanga Vavajitaha Tulya Ninda Stutiye Mauni Santushto Yena Kena Chit Aniketaha Stira Matir Bhakti Mamme Priyo Naraha. So, translation, one who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. So this is Krishna, of course, describing the qualities of a devotee. And as Prabhupada said in the purport there, the devotee should be developing these qualities. He doesn't have to artificially develop them, but they will come automatically as he becomes purified. Because they are part of the soul. This detachment, equipoised nature, that is the quality of the soul. In the material world, we are very agitated by all these things. Friends and enemies, honor, dishonor, heat and cold, happiness, distress, fame and infamy. We're always being battered. But here Krishna is explaining how we should behave. In the period of sadhana, we are still suffering from previous conditioning. So if somebody is nice to us, we feel happy. If somebody speaks badly to us, we become upset. And we may wonder, should I answer back people? If they say bad things to me, what should I do? Should I answer them back or should I ignore them? So here Krishna, by giving the qualities of an elevated devotee, is instructing us also how we should behave during the period of sadhana, when we're overcoming our material conditioning and we're developing spiritual consciousness. We can cultivate these things. We can understand them, put them in mind, and develop them. This question was asked to Yudhisthira Maharaj. What should a devotee do? What should a person do? Yudhisthira, son of Dharmaraj. He was asked, what should a devotee do? Or a person, if he meets some person who becomes angry and condemns him, should he react or should he stay silent? Yudhisthira Maharaj said, one shouldn't react. If there is a coarse fool, one should just tolerate and be quiet. So this is very important, that we don't become entangled in the material energy. The material energy is full of these dualities. They are perceived by us. Oh, this is friend, this is enemy, this is honor, this is dishonor. This is the thinking of people in the material world. And of course they gravitate to what suits them. And they try to dveshti, they try to get away from the bad things. But the devotee has a different mentality, because the devotee is antirmukh. Sadhana bhakti means that we are developing realization of Krishna within. And the progress of sadhana means that remembrance of Krishna, that realization of Krishna is developing day by day. And that is the fruit of good sadhana, and that is the goal, to realize Krishna and thereby realize our relationship with Krishna. So that is the priority of the sadhana bhakta. He is not very much concerned about what is happening in the external material world. He is concerned with realizing Krishna. So therefore, he doesn't want to be distracted by what people think in the material world, what this philosophy is there, this philosophy is there, this person is my friend. He is not on that material platform of duality where he's interpreting good and bad, everything. And that is all, on the material world, that is all what people are doing. They are performing so many activities, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes this point in Jaiva Dharma, that the materialistic people, they only have two activities actually. They are trying to increase that which they interpret as good. Wealth, friendship, position in society, so on and so forth. They're trying to acquire those things, and they're trying to avoid bad things, things that are inconvenient. And on the basis of that, accept and reject, they are making decisions. Thinking, feeling, willing, and then action. First, we are conscious beings. We are perceiving the creation. Secondly, we are feeling, we are interpreting it. I like this, I don't like this. And then sankalp vikalp, we're making a decision. I don't like this, I want this. And then we're performing action. Thinking, feeling, willing, these are on the mental platform, subtle platform, and then we're performing actions. So everything is on that basis. We're always making decisions according to our perceived area, and we are interpreting that perceived area and making the decisions. And then we're performing actions. And those actions are not necessarily just walking or doing something physical, but there are different working senses, 5 working senses, right? There's the working sense of the voice. We perform work with a voice, like a teacher or a guide. He's a politician. They're working by speaking. And then we perform actions with our arms. And then we perform action with our stomach, our digestion. That is a working sense. And then the genital, we perform action with the genital, procreation and so on. And then we perform work with the working sense of the legs. And we can think of those in terms of the Pancha Mahabhuta. That will help us. Akash, speaking. Hands move in the air, so that is related to the element of air. And then below air is fire. So we perform fire of digestion. We perform work with our material organs. And then water or liquids. With the genital and the fluids and so on, we procreate. And then the legs, they are situated on earth. So these are the 5 working senses. So we are very concerned about this material world and accepting and reacting to this material world when we have no other purpose. But Krishna here is explaining you should have the purpose of self-realization, Arjuna. You should be performing bhakti. And therefore, if you are bahirmukh, outwardly looking, you'll be distracted from your development of Krishna consciousness. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So the devotee is hearing and chanting about Krishna, and then he is performing Smaranam. And in this state of Smaranam, he is realizing Krishna. So therefore, the material world of duality, it becomes more and more external, and he is able to tolerate the duality. And then the acquisition of the good and bad in the external world doesn't become his concern, because as Krishna says here, santushta, he's satisfied with anything. So it is good to know these qualities and to cultivate them, even though they will grow naturally when we perform good sadhana bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are the Navavidha Bhakti, 9 practices of sadhana bhakti. If we perform them very nicely, we will be getting a spiritual taste that is different from material. We will be getting bhakti ras. We will get nama chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Vigraha. We'll become enlivened by the holy name. We'll become satisfied by the holy name. And we will personally realize our progress. And this is very interesting point. That in this chapter, we've already seen that Krishna has given Arjuna very individual instructions. First, if you remember, Arjuna asked, should I follow an impersonal meditation, or should I meditate upon the personal form of the Lord and my personal relationship? So Krishna says, you must follow the personal path. The impersonal path, that is good until we come to the point of realizing Krishna. Krishna is realized through the personal path. Can you tell them to be quiet? This is terrible. We didn't have this problem at Namisharanya. People were listening properly. So anyway, the impersonal path is only recommended in a way to give somebody an idea that there is spirit, there's something beyond matter. But if you want to realize spirit in full, you have to perform bhakti marg. And so Navavidha Bhakti is there. So then Krishna explained the path of bhakti. But what's very interesting is that it is a very individual path. It is, as we said 2 weeks ago, it is not one size fits all. It is tailored to the individual requirements. So now in Kali Yuga there are many so-called religions, and the people are born into them and they adopt these so-called religions as a kind of cultural way of life. I'm born in this group, in this area, and the leaders of these religions, they just tell the people, just have faith, just believe. and just come once a week to the temple or the mosque or the synagogue, give a donation, and you're saved. But we find here in this 12th chapter, Krishna gives instructions not for just a faithful compliance, but he's giving instructions according to the individual so that the individual can make progress from his particular position. So he starts with the state of perfection. He explains, just fix your mind upon me without deviation. Engage all your intelligence in me, thus you will live in me always. So that is pure devotion. In pure devotion, the consciousness through bhakti, through prem, is flowing towards Krishna automatically, just in the same way that the rivers flow to the ocean. Queen Kunti says in the Bhagavatam, Gange Vodam Udanvati. O Krishna, please let my consciousness flow towards you just like the Ganga. The Ganga is not impeded. It flows over any obstacles. And she even prays. This is very interesting, because this is practical example of what is Krishna explaining here. She says, please cut off my ties to my family. So this is not an ordinary family. This is the Pandavas. This is Draupadi. So she said, cut off my attachment. What does that mean? What it means is, please let me understand my family from the spiritual point of view, not from the material point of view. Let me see them as your devotees, as your Vibhinangsa, as your Jiva Shakti. Don't let me see them as my children belonging to me. Let me see them as spiritual beings. So this is very important. We are not saying, Krishna is not saying, become like a piece of wood. Have no affection for friends and enemies, heat and cold. Don't bother about anything. Just become an impersonal, almost inanimate object. No. Krishna is explaining, don't see things from this materialistic duality. So this was the request of Kunti Devi, that I want to see from the spiritual platform. And if I maintain my attachment, my material interpretation of my family as my family, my children, belonging to me, aham mameti, that spiritual attachment to you and my swarup, my relationship to you, will be hampered. So material attachment hampers the development of spiritual realization. This is very important. So this is how we can understand all these things. So first Krishna said like that, let my consciousness flow, always fix your mind upon me. Then he said, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the rules and regulations of sadhana bhakti. And in that way, you will develop the desire to attain me. So this is very important. The pure devotees, they are in bhava bhakti, like Madhavendra Puri. He came to Vrindavan, and there are verses by Madhavendra Puri, and he said, my sacred thread, my chapar and all this, my regulated devotion, I put that aside. Now I am in Vrindavan and I am simply engrossed in the thought of Krishna. So this is a fact, that the perfected devotee, he may not be performing sadhana bhakti in a very normal manner, going to Mangalarti, studying, chanting fixed number of, because he is now completely liberated in prem bhakti. But we should not imitate that elevated platform. So sadhana bhakti is there, and it should be performed with a view of that perfection. That is very important, that we should know the purpose of our sadhana. We should have prayojan tattva. We should know the goal, the necessity. So then Krishna says, and this is what I'm saying, Krishna doesn't say just join some group. He gives instructions for practice. This is the difference. Man-made religion is cultural. Just join this, have faith, and be carried along in the crowd. But actually, yoga means the individual must practice. And according to his practice, he will get a result. Yeyatam mam prapadyante. So if you cannot follow rules and regulations of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, then Krishna says, work for me. So Prabhupada explains that in the purport. He says that means, okay, I'm not following sadhana bhakti very nicely, but I come to the temple and I work for Krishna. Or I take books and I distribute books to my friend. Or I give a donation to the temple. Or I come to the temple and I clean the temple. And I do on festival days, Janmashtami, I help distribute the prasad. I work for Krishna. So this is perfectly valid according to the person's position. Then Krishna says, if you cannot work for me, then become Atmavan, become self-situated, become a pious, equipoised personality. Again, equipoised. That means perform all your material duties very nicely. Look after the wife, look after the children, be a good member of society, and give in charity. That will purify you. Yagya, dana, tapas. That is in the Gita. 3 things should never be given up. Yagya, acting in sacrifice, giving your time and energy. Jnana, dana, charity, and tapasya. So that kind of person that's working for Krishna, he can perform Ekadashi Vrat, right? He can, okay, I can't perform sadhana bhakti in a very high level, but I can fast from grains on Ekadashi. And then I can even fast completely. So I can do what's possible, what's amenable to me. So Krishna says that, but if you can't do that, then give in charity. Then he says, Krishna explains, that if you can't do that, if you're having trouble becoming a good member of society, then what you should do is gain knowledge. You should go to the sadhus, you should go to the gurus, you should go to the Vaishnavas, and you should study the Shastra, and you should understand the necessity of spiritual life. you should understand that you're a human being. You have a good chance now to go back to Godhead, to get eternal life. So you should gather knowledge. And then Krishna says, having gathered knowledge, even better is that you perform meditation. Now I have knowledge of Krishna, so I meditate upon the form of Krishna. I meditate on the Brahman effulgence of Krishna. I remember the Leela of Krishna. And then Krishna says, but better than meditation is vairag. Give up the desire for the fruit of your activities. Don't perform your duties, but perform them in yagya. Manmana bhava mad bhakto, madhyadi. And then that becomes the purpose of your activity, that you are performing them as an offering to the Supreme. So then Krishna says, this is very good point, because that will bring you to the path of bhakti and sadhana bhakti, and then you will be able to realize your relationship with me in full. Then Krishna, having described that, first pure bhakti, sadhana bhakti, work for me, become a good person, follow all your material duties, give in charity. Then, if you can't do that, gather knowledge, the importance of spiritual life. Then, having gathered knowledge, perform meditation. And then, in meditation, become Atmavan, and don't be greedy. Perform your activities as an offering to Krishna, which is bhakti. Yad karosi yadanasi yogstadosi dadasi yat. So in that way, Krishna gives very particular instruction for the practice of everyone. And everyone can find a suitable position and make progress from that way. And this is yoga. Yoga means union with the absolute truth. So, Prabhupada, and it is described in the Shastra, yoga is like a ladder. It has different rungs. You're going up the rungs. At the topmost position is the Prem Bhakta, completely liberated. Muktir hitavam yata rupam, situated in his spiritual relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But to reach that stage, there is advised practice. And this is very important. And then, having given that instruction, then Krishna says, this is how devotees behave. And that started on 13, verse 13. So we'll read this, because this is what we should practice. This is the equipoised nature. And we'll see in this how Krishna is saying. And also this is important in another way, because when we understand this, we will understand how to recognize a good devotee. We will be able to see, this devotee is equipoised, he's peaceful, he's not greedy, he's not agitated. And then we can take the association and instruction of that good devotee. Because sadhusanga, sava shastra hoy, lavamata sadhusanga, sava siddhi hoy. So we must be able to recognize who is a qualified devotee, and then gravitate to that association, because by that good association, we will become inspired in our spiritual practice. And no man is an island. We need good association. Sankirtan. It means chanting in the association of devotees. So through these qualities we recognize who is a good level of devotee. So I'll read them now. One who is not envious. Now that's very interesting. Krishna starts with that. He's not matsarya, he's not envious, but a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor. He's not claiming this belongs to me, and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress. Again, the duality. Who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. And this is how Krishna finishes every verse. He says, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So this is something that we can become very encouraged by. That if we are trying to become a devotee, we become very dear to Krishna. Number 15. He by whom no one is put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised, again equipoised, balanced, in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. My devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, again this material duality, dhiras tatra namuyate. One who neither laments nor desires, who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, again the duality. A devotee is not disturbed. Such a devotee is very dear to me. And then today's verses. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent, satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge, and who is engaged in devotional service, such a devotee is very dear to me. And then the last verse, because this chapter is only 20 verses, those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service, and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So this is Krishna. The devotional service, all these different practices, they make us very dear. Not only that, it's very, very dear to me. Bhakta Stetvava me priyaha. So it's very dear. So this is something for us to realize, that we want to become dear to Krishna, and then the devotee is taken by Krishna to the spiritual realm, and we live eternally. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is the message of these verses at the end of this chapter, that we should become balanced, dhira, not become too agitated by the dualities we are seeing. And we can develop that very easily if we are regularly following good sadhana and studying Bhagavatam, realizing Krishna, chanting the holy name. Then we will become satisfied, santushta. And we should be patient, as Krishna said. We will gradually increase. We should have no doubt. And the more we realize Krishna, the more satisfied we will be. And so this is the Vedic path. It is not a path of just believe, have faith. It is a practice whereby you personally, directly realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You understand? We don't want to follow mechanically. Oh, I believe what the acharyas say. No, I want to realize what the acharyas say. I want to experience Krishna and Krishna's devotees directly and personally. And in Kali Yuga, Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so thank you all very much for your kind attention. Any question? I'll try to give a good answer.
Prabhuji, you said that we have to associate with the devotees who are having these qualities. So we automatically get these qualities. We automatically get these qualities by associating with them. So we find some devotees, some very devotees are there who have these good qualities in abundance. But we don't have, our behavior is not like that. We can be associated with beings that they don't want to take us with them. So, and we know that if I associate with this devotee, particular devotee, then I will have so many good qualities. I will develop very rapidly in my spiritual progress. But we find that our behavior is not like to associate with them. It's not good behavior. Our behavior is not very good.
Sorry?
Means our behavior is not very good.
Your behavior?
Yes, to associate with them.
No, if you want to associate with good devotees, then your behavior is good.
But we can after some time we find some faults
and the thing is, you won't get those qualities from them. They will inspire these qualities because they are within you. They are part of the soul. You understand?
Yes. As I want to associate with them, but Krishna is not letting me to associate with them
well,
because of my...
devotee is always modest and, gentle in his behavior. So, just like you're saying, I don't think my behavior is very good. But the thing is, as I said in the class, these qualities are described. So we know how to behave, even though we may not be perfect. Srila Prabhupada, a very good story this is one of my favorite stories of Prabhupada. Prabhupada was in Atlanta and he was giving big darshan, lots of people there. And at the end, one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, how do we know who is your real devotee? How do we know who is your real disciple? So that's a very good question. Somebody might think, oh, he'll know the scripture. He'll be a big manager or a big guru or a big this he'll be in this position. So everyone was, what's Prabhupada going to say? Who is the real devotee? How will I recognize who is your real devotee, your real disciple? The question was. Prabhupada said, he'll be a perfect gentleman. That was Prabhupada's answer. So the fruit of being self-realized is that you become a perfect gentleman. And I saw that myself with Srila Prabhupada. He's always perfect. And I remember when I first met Prabhupada, Prabhupada was so respectful to me. I was surprised because he's such a great person. But he talked to me in a very gentle way, as if I was somebody special. You know, he wasn't, I'm the big guru. No, he spoke to everyone. I remember one time Srila Prabhupada, he was in London. He had come from America, and there was a darshan room. And Prabhupada had come from the aeroplane, and he was sitting behind a small coffee table on, you know, at the window. And everyone was coming in and paying obeisances to Prabhupada. Luckily, I was very close to Prabhupada, closer than you are to me. And Prabhupada was just sitting in the chair, and there was no feeling that I'm saying hello and yes, I'm the big guru and you're paying obeisances and I'm the cynosure, means I'm the center of attention. You understand? Yes. Prabhupada was laying back on the cushion, very relaxed, as if he was just another person in the room. Do you understand? Yes. There was no, he wasn't posturing, he wasn't trying to appear. He was just, I've just got off the aeroplane and now I'm relaxed. Nice to see you. There was no atmosphere of, you understand? Prabhupada was just equal to everyone. So, the fruit of spiritual consciousness is that people become perfect. And that is, as you know, right, in Indian culture, Vedic culture, the sadhu, right? Sadhu means what? Perfect person, holy man. He's free of lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, envy. Just a sadhu. He has a very sweet heart, and so on and so forth. So that is the sign of the real devotee. You understand? It is not in the learning or in making a show or even showing mystic power by some trickery. That the sadhu has that wonderful personal nature. He's pure, as Krishna says, pure and expert. So this is very important. Because in Kali Yuga, sometimes people go with the crowd. Oh, this person is famous. This person has many followers. But you should, now he may be a sadhu, I'm not saying no. But when we go to see the holy people or the sadhus, we should see, we can examine. Is this person a sadhu? Is he a holy person? Is he free of lust, anger, greed? Is pride, illusion, envy? Is he a purified soul? And I personally saw that Srila Prabhupada was like that. And that's why we all loved Srila Prabhupada. Because he had that atmosphere of love for us. He wasn't just taking service. He was, you're my children, you're my devotees, and I'm your devotee. He used to say, I am your devotee because you have been sent by my spiritual master to help me perform his service. So I'm the servant of you. So, Gopi Bhata Kamalayo Das or Das Anudas. So this is very instructive. This is something to bear in mind. But at the same time, if we see that a devotee is not perfect, He may sometimes become angry. He may sometimes do something bad, or, temporarily. We should not condemn that devotee. We should understand he's on the path. There is one sloka, Abhichet Sudaracharo, that if a devotee is sincere, and sometimes he may make a mistake in behavior or practice, we shouldn't be, now I can attack. We should just be tolerant. Karunika titikshava, right? Vaishnava, what's that we say? Vaishnavebhyo karunaka. He's an ocean of mercy. So this is the point, that we should develop this kind and merciful nature. You understand? And like you said at the beginning, we will become inspired by good association, you see. Just like if you associate with bad people, you take on their nature, right? If somebody, mixes with drinkers, then he'll become a drinker. You understand? So we have to find good association. And so this is instructing us. Who is a sadhu?
Just bless us so that we can all... Because when it comes to practical application, all this, what this sloka has told us, so we are very, very, very far away from practical application of all these things. When it comes to practical, we don't behave like...
Well,
I don't behave like... I'm very far away from...
Yeah, but that's what I was saying in the class. So we know how we should behave, right? We should be tolerant and gentle, modest. We shouldn't be anger. This is natural for human beings. Okay, shanti, okay, I'm sorry, mere galti. In India they go there. My fault, I didn't mean to make trouble. Shanti, okay. Right? So this is what we have to cultivate. But of course, Arjuna's on the battlefield. So he was like that at the beginning. Oh, I don't want to fight Krishna, it's a terrible thing. But Krishna said, no, Arjuna, you have to do your duty. You're on the battlefield now. So be merciful as you're fighting. So any other question? Everything clear? Okay. Jai.
Well, my English is not so good. Please try to understand by sense what I want to say. Prabhuji, Krishna will give us pure love, then be equal enemy like friend, and still condition in honor and dishonor. Prabhuji, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. How can we react to enemy like a friend? Anybody snatch few us?
I know. It may be difficult, yes, of course. But the thing is, we have to understand that this balanced mentality we should develop, because then we can maintain our smaranam, our remembrance of Krishna. So it is difficult at times, no doubt. But we have to understand that this is the path that we have to pursue. You understand? But the same thing, yes, we're equal to friends and enemies, but we try to find good association. You understand? It's not that, okay, if this person is negative to me, this person is always angry with me, then just avoid. You understand? Like you become Pandita Samadarshana. You know, Sunit, Krishna says, the Pandit is equal to everyone. But at the same time, he doesn't embrace a snake. You understand? He may pat the cow, but he doesn't pat the snake. You understand? So it doesn't mean to say that you lose all intelligent discrimination. This person is an enemy. So therefore, okay, very nice to see you. I hope you're well. Don't become drawn into a fight. You know, there is a saying, never argue with a fool, because after 1 minute, nobody knows who is the fool. You understand? So, yes, equipoised, but still using intelligence. Who is good association? Who is to be avoided? So on and so forth. Do you see this point? And like I say, if we associate with sadhus, we will become sadhus. We will develop that. We'll be inspired. But ultimately, it's within us. This is the nature of the soul, to be balanced and equipoised. And if we follow sadhana bhakti, then these qualities will develop. But be patient. That's what Krishna said, right? A devotee is patient. So we should be patient. And if our mind becomes disturbed, then we chant, we read Bhagavatam. Winter and summer, they come and go. This is so Karunika Titikshava, tolerant. Do you see the point? Yeah. So we're equal to everyone, but at the same time we know who is good association and who is bad association. Okay, we'll finish at this point. Thank you all very much for coming to class. See you all next Friday, I hope. Srila Prabhupada, Jagannath Rath Yatra, Bhagavad Gita, Sadhu Sangha Ki Jai.